Thank you for tuning. Welcome back. All right. So you see today we got the question: uh, How does activism build brand credibility? Right? How does activism build brand credibility? I'm Pasha Paro, and this is an important topic because so many, so often times, people are afraid to speak their mind, to have an opinion, to be real, right? At the same time, you have a lot of brands out here taking advantage of the opportunity. Make sure you guys can hear me, and if you can hear me, put that in the chat. Let me just double check real quick before we get too far. The opportunity. All right, we got audio. Okay, cool. So you see a lot of people like running around talking about, they got this business, like, somebody I was talking to today in the email, they following up with me talking about, hey, let's talk. And I was sent them the whole profile of, because I take notes for everything when I meet someone, talk to someone, etc. So I sent them the whole thing like, hey, you ready to start your campaign? Because you're trying to help the kids and do this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. And they were, totally avoided that, because that's where we left the last conversation. We talked about the product, we talked about what they do, we talked about their so-called activism, but they totally avoided that, and they just went back to the product because they gave me the same spiel about 168 kids in the foster home this month and everything. I'm like, yeah, because you're not doing anything about it, but talking. I said I could help you with a campaign. That's how I'm your ally. So when you position them like that and you show them the realness of their application, then they say, I must be wasting your time and everything. Like, no, you're wasting a kid's time in a foster home who's waiting for you to do something about it, bring awareness to them so that they can have somewhere to go when they're 18, because you out here selling a particular card or some little service or something. So anyway, let's get to this, right? Let's take a look at this real quick. Americans split on corporate activism. And here we can see this. We know it's July 13th through 19th, a survey. Don't ask me exactly which year, but the reference is there with Statista. So Americans split on corporate activism. The percentage of U.S. adults who believe it's important for companies to publicly address political/social issues, 25% say not at all, 23% say not very. However, 32% say somewhat, 19% say very, and 1% had no opinion. So about 51% is in support of corporate activism. All right. Now we're going to take a look at some examples here today, and go into the when it works well, when it don't work, and etc. Okay, so let's get started. Because the brand activism is actually shaping a brand's credibility, whether they know it or not. And keep this in mind for the small businesses, but also it's shaping your perception of the world around you. So you know how we talk a lot about the brainwashing aspects on here, but that part, what most people don't know, especially in the small business community, is that consumers are actually championing this change. And there's a good contrast between what I would say when I talk to a lot of people, they're stuck in like 1990. It's like Back to the Future, right? And what I mean by that is they're actually still marketing to the people of the 1900s, right? I'm actually one of the first millennials per their little calendar. I'm August 1980. So I'm like millennial number 105 off the assembly line, fresh, right? So what is important to know for anyone that has their own business or is in a marketing situation or does any type of anything related to marketing is that very soon the entire consumer base is going to be comprised of millennials and younger generations. And we have this distinct characteristic of not giving a fuck about what your product is because we're in actually in the intelligence age. They're still branding and marketing to the information age. Per the CIA, we've already moved into what's called the intelligence age because we grew up with the ability to not only access information, but compile and assimilate it. So we know what your product is. We know we can get it 947 other different places. And we know the price points. We know everything about it within a matter of moments. So we really don't care about the product. What we care about is, what do you stand for? What are you doing in exchange for the product? To be popular, right? To be successful. This is why you get critics of how people arrived at their success. Oh, they got put on by so-and-so. Oh, they went out there and wore a dress. Oh, they did this. Your subconscious is criticizing those arrival tangents due to those reasons, whether you associate with it or not. All right. So let's look at this. I want to start with Ben and Jerry's. Okay. So let me get you guys some ice cream on the screen. Here we go. Hold on. All right. There you go. And we're back. All right. So there goes some ice cream for you. We'll represent the Ben and Jerry's while we're talking about Ben and Jerry's. And what Ben and Jerry's was, you know, they went from a journey from a small ice cream shop, because this is a good representation of the rise of brand activism. They went from a small ice cream shop to a purpose-led brand, if you want to describe it as such. A lot of people have brands, but they ain't got no purpose. And they just out there randomly trying to collect dollars from anybody that throw it to them like a stripper. You know what I'm saying? So you got to have some purpose before you can have integrity. A lot of people carry the name integrity, but they ain't got none, right? So Ben and Jerry's journey from a small ice cream shop to a purpose-led brand driven by the founders' commitment to social and environmental causes. Their campaigns, such as supporting fair trade and advocating for climate action, have set a new standard for the corporate social responsibility. Okay? So the relevance for today is like that exemplifies brand activism by integrating social justice and environmental protection into its business model. You see what I mean? So the people support it because they feel supported by the brand, at least for the topics that they respect and are relating to, right? Because the brand is standing for something that they stand for too, or agree with supporting. It builds the bond better than just saying, hey, do you like my ice cream? So now you have super friends, super fans, super customers, super clients, super support. Consumers increasingly seek brands that align with their values, driving the success of socially responsible companies like Ben and Jerry's. All right. So how does your company compare to that? You know what I mean? What are you doing? When you look at, let's go back real quick to Nike's Just Do It campaign, right? Featuring Colin Kaepernick, the former NFL player known for kneeling during the national anthem, right? And the protests of racial inequality, right? Sparked a nationwide conversation. Conversation is good. It's healthy. So Nike's decision to stand by Kaepernick and use him in the campaign became a national controversy, and controversy sells, as you know, as people across the states determine whether or not this would affect the company's rise, or be their downfall. So let's take a look at that. I got something pulled up here for you there. One second here, people. Appreciate you. All right, so here we go, right? So what this is a case study. I'll scroll to the top so you can see the reference point. It's the actual case study of Nike and Kaepernick Just Do It campaign. The case study of the Nike's 30th anniversary campaign, all right, by Brian Orvada and Courtney Vandergriff. What I wanted to point out here, I mean, you can read the whole thing at your leisure, at your free time, but I want to go over these 2 paragraphs here. So the research says, following his idea to kneel during the national anthem, an outbreak of disapproval for Colin Kaepernick surged throughout the nation. So, right, a poll during the 2016 season named Kaepernick the most disliked player in the league, with 37% of Caucasians saying they disliked him a lot and 42% of African Americans saying they liked him a lot. However, according to the survey research conducted by YouGov to determine how Nike customers felt about Colin Kaepernick, 46% of responses revealed a positive outlook of the NFL star, while 23% see him in a negative light. This reveals that a majority of Nike customers supported social activism and the push for reform in the area of racial inequality and police cruelty. Therefore, by creating a social media campaign around Colin Kaepernick and social activism, Nike hoped to strategically reach their target audience by influence public opinion about their brand. However, other research states that 53% of Americans object to the idea of kneeling during the national anthem because they consider it to be disrespectful to the flag and the country as a whole. So there was a high risk in launching such a marketing campaign that was created from these statistics. But Nike is a company that thrives on taking risks with the public because they want their organization to be unique and stand out among others. See, that's another thing I want to help you guys. Whether you're a music artist, a cookie maker, a clothes designer, whatever, if you're fighting so hard to fit in, you're doing it so backwards that it's so stupid. Because when you fight so hard to fit in, like, you can't see the drop of water in the ocean. So then what you got to do is you got to spend $10 million on marketing to stand out, because you spent $10 million on changing yourself from being original, being genuine, to being fit into something so you blend in. Now you can't be seen. Now you got to spend another $10 million to market so you can be seen, when you could have just been yourself from the beginning and saved $20 million and had an original, genuine niche centered around you being you, and the world would have been much more better. Let's continue. According to the Washington Post, the decision to use Colin Kaepernick as the main figure in their ad campaign was popular among young Americans. Cindy Bourne from the Washington Post stated that Quinnipiac, if you can say it better than me, you can say it to yourself, but a Quinnipiac University poll showed voters approved of Nike's decision to feature Kaepernick in its latest ad campaign, 49% to 37%. The poll also determined that there was a large age gap. This is important. Watch this. There was a large age gap among people who agreed and disagreed, with those 18 to 34 approving Nike's decision by 67 to 21 margin, while voters 65 and older disapproved of the decision, 46 to 39%. Remember, I was saying the millennial generation forward, we got a totally different view of reality and the world and truth. That discrepancy is shown in those numbers. So overall, the 30th anniversary of the Nike Just Do It campaign was creative, and in the sense that it took the controversial social issues and turned it into something positive and innovative, in hopes that it would be beneficial to social movements, activists, athletes, and eventually would influence product sales, right? So there's an example that we're all familiar with, but maybe we didn't know the numbers and the actual push behind it, that show what a lot of you are fearing as business owners actually works to your advantage. All right. So let me see here. Let me catch up where we at. We did Ben and Jerry's. We did Nike. What I got next for you? So next I got fashion. All right. Let's get into the fashion world real quick. Let me give you some artwork on the screen so the fashion people can be like, oh, there's fashion, and feel welcomed. Give me one moment here. Let's use what we're gonna use. We're gonna use this one here. All right, that'll work. All right, fashionettes and fashioners. There you go. Okay, so here we go. Some of you guys may know the story. Put some comments in the chat if you have something to add. Okay. So the backlash against fast fashion brands due to unethical labor practices and environmental impact is an example of the wake-up call, right? So to speak. So leading to a growing movement towards sustainable and ethical fashion. So this shift was prompted by consumers who reevaluated their choices and demanded more from the brands they support. So just looking at that in fashion, what happens if us as consumers demand more from the brands we support? Because the brands we support shape the world around us. So ultimately, all the complaints you have about society, you got to actually stand up and take ownership of yourself, because you're basically funding it. So if there's something you don't like, then you got to look at who you're supporting, right? This is why, let's say, it's so slow for the brands that are true to actually ramp up the speed, because they sound different, they look different, they feel different. But what many people don't realize until they actually spend time getting to know them is that's what they really want in life. But they're so seduced by the $10 billion budget campaign of the brands that they really don't like, but just feel like they are because of the compelling issues of marketing, that's what's going on. So the fashion industry's exploitive practices have led to a reevaluation of consumer choices, prompting a demand for ethical and sustainable alternatives. All right. And that's available in every industry. No matter what product line, you can find someone who's doing it better for the people and better for the environment. So why would you choose anything else? Consumers are increasingly informed and vocal about ethical and environmental impact of the brands they support, driving a shift towards responsible business practices. And that's what we got to do. Y'all running around here talking about billions of dollars worth of buying power and impact and boycott and all this stuff. Stop looking at it as boycotting and start looking at it as picking the right people to invest into and support up front, and then you won't have the complaints thereafter. All right, because you can't replace anything that you haven't built a system for in advance. Ultimately, you're doomed to return back to the very thing that you're complaining about, because you haven't built yourself any other options. All right, it's really that simple, people. Now let's look at this. Speaking of fashion, we can go into the success of Patagonia. All right, was an outdoor clothing company that was known for its environmental activism and sustainable practices, right? So if you know Patagonia, if you got some of their gear, put the thumbs up, put a 1 in the chat, leading to a loyal customer base, right? Patagonia's commitment to environmental causes has resonated deeply with the customers who value sustainability. And the positive impact of the brand and loyalty market position come from Patagonia's commitment to environmental activism, which resonates with its customers, leading to the loyal customer base that it has, right? And a strong market position. Now, notably from this was Patagonia's "Don't Buy This Jacket" campaign. All right, so let's take a look at that real quick. All right. So the success of Patagonia's marketing strategy here says the Patagonia manufacturer of upscale outdoor clothing is known for its various environmental sustainability. And this is by Poon Kulali, you say the name, uh, Investopedia, May 2024. So it's quite recent. So the privately held company has been known to promote used wear and ask consumers to think twice before buying its products. In spite of what looks like an anti-marketing effect, the company has seen its revenues grow in the face of challenging environment for traditional retailers. All right. How has the company managed to pull this off? So the Don't Buy This Jacket when consumers campaign, with consumers being more frugal during the Great Recession and its aftermath, they were less inclined to buy on impulse and tend to shop more for value. And that's a strong statement because today something like 80% of purchases are made on an impulse, emotional impulse. How many people have taken a year to study and look over something before they purchased it? How many people saw it and bought it right away? Huge difference. Huge difference. So consumers were becoming more interested in goods that lasted long. And Patagonia saw an opportunity there to tout its own long-lasting wares, right? So the key takeaways of this article, and you can read the full thing at your leisure. Patagonia is an apparel retailer known for its upscale outdoor clothing, right? So the company continues to grow by offering products that are designed to last, all right, right? Patagonia announced in 2017 that it would give merchandise credits for used apparel. So what's the best way to promote how long lasting your clothes are? To give credits for people when they bring it back 5 and 10 years later so that you can resell it as used apparel and it lasts another 5 and 10 years. So the company has been active on the environmental and political fronts, which resonate well with Patagonia's loyal customer base. All right. So the marketing strategy led the company's running an advertisement the marketing strategy led to the company's running an advertisement during the 2011 Thanksgiving season that read, "Don't buy this jacket." The advertisement talked about the cost to the environment of one of the company's best-selling fleece jackets and actually asked the customers to reconsider before buying the product and instead opt for a used Patagonia product. In spite of this, or because of this, the company saw its revenue grow about 30% to $543 million in 2012, followed by another 5% growth in 2013. And by 2017, the company reached $1 billion in sales. So basically, the sleight of hand was to say, don't buy the new jacket, buy the used one. But think about it for a moment. The only way you can get a used one is to have somebody have to have bought a new one. It's kind of genius, right? So plus it really helped because their quality matched their claims and it lasted for a long time, right? All right, let me see what's next I got for you guys. We did the Patagonia. Now, there are times where it can backfire if it's not done right, because you hear me all the time say you can't be true without consideration of the infinity. So we want to make sure, one, that you're true, okay, and not fake or false. So let's see here where we want to go. Let's go to, I got one or two more examples and then we can get up out of here. Let's go to this one. All right, cool. So here we go. Uber faced public relation crisis after the hashtag delete Uber movement gained momentum due to the perception that the company was undermining a taxi strike protesting President Trump's immigration policies. So don't worry about the details of the equation. Let's just look at the fact that the incident showcased the risk perceived insincerity and the impact of the consumer backlash on the brand reputation. So Uber's experience underscored the perils of performative activism and the need for genuine, well-aligned engagement with social and political issues. The public's response highlighted the importance of what they're going to use the word authentic, genuine, well-communicated brand activism in resonating with customers. So you got to be true. Don't be out here, taking advantage of opportunities that you don't otherwise have anything to do with. And don't be false. Don't be phony. Be true. Be legit. And if you do that right, then you can have the success had by Ben & Jerry's, Patagonia, Nike. And most importantly, not only will you have success as the brand, the community around you can feel the success as well. But see, that's up to you. Okay? You as the customer who needs to stop just throwing money at whatever and support those who are fighting for what you believe in the world as a company, as a brand. And two, as the business owners, because stop being afraid to have a public opinion and start letting people know what your brand stands for. And then you can gain support from customers who stand with you in that. And that is what got America, got America to where we are today. Is we basically weren't supporting those type of brands that had the right values. So when you wake up today and see things you don't like, it's because you've invested in the wrong momentum. So choose today. Pasha Paro, YNet7. Thank you for tuning.